thinking before I came here.
Yeah.
About how, like, maybe Michael was the apprentice and I was the shaman.
Okay. You were.
Maybe I was. I didn't realize initially on our
Right.
first encounter.
Right.
And now you are the apprentice and he is the shaman. So I felt connected to you in that way.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you also, how did you heal yourself of cancer, or
well, with people's help, not just.
But you had
multiple times.
Multiple times.
Yeah, twice, unfortunately.
Oh my God! What kind?
Testicular. I had testicular tumor, and I didn't cut my ball off. So that in itself takes balls. I'll tell you right there.
Yeah,
because
they're telling you to
cut it off. Cut it off.
Yeah, well, with women with breast cancer, they're like chop it off, chop it off.
Exactly.
Or ovaries, take them out.
Yeah, exactly. So I did that, and then I had melanoma.
Wow. And so, how did you heal yourself?
The short version is
how many?
Yeah, the short. No, I mean, a variety. I mean, there's definitely a spiritual part of it of getting.
Okay.
You know, if you're sick, your life is out of balance in some way.
Yes, I totally believe. Like, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you got to get your life right.
Emotional, psychological, and physical.
Yeah. So I approach it. I didn't approach it that way, but that ends up happening. You have to address that.
Yeah.
You can't. But then, like, medically, I used ozone, which is intravenous ozone, which is oxygen.
Yeah.
Intravenous high dosage vitamins.
Where did you had a doctor that did that?
Yeah, there are doctors who do that. Yeah.
But it was
actually the one that I used most frequently and most recently. He is actually a reverend and a spiritual healer who is a medical doctor.
Wow. He was both.
So he's been to the rainforest and had his third eye opened, and is considered by the shamans a shaman.
What does the third eye opened mean? Did that
shaman?
happen to you, Michael?
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of it. You
being able to see what's not. You could see energetically people. You could read people and what they need.
That's happened to me before, especially on weed.
So
we're going for the third eye.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe
when I dabbed, I saw people in terms of. Why do you laugh?
I remember seeing you.
Okay.
On
it was an accident, but I saw people in terms of their sound frequencies and energy and colors. Like I saw them in terms of colors, light and sound frequency.
Yes. Well, we are.
Yeah.
That's what we are.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you? So did you heal like yourself from your dad's death? Was that one of the things, or what did you? How did you?
Well, that is always related.
How did you know it was working, or you just trusted like the oxygen in the bite? Like how did you know it was treating the cancer?
Well, you take medical tests,
and they were like, it's working.
Well, the sonogram showed that the tumor shrunk.
Okay.
And then the urologist said he had done the first sonogram, which said I had to get surgery.
Yeah.
And then when it shrunk, he said, "Well, you can't really trust the sonogram."
Interesting.
I was like, okay.
So he was saying before that maybe when it was so big on the sonogram,
right.
he didn't want to believe that the oxygen. Interesting. Yeah. Wow.
So there's that, and blood work, and
And did it shrink and go away completely?
No, it shrunk, but
okay.
Still some.
So it's there.
Like from 17 years ago. So.
But you live with it and you're cool with it. You're like me and the tumor. We're friends.
I haven't quite made friends. That's an interesting strategy. I haven't done that. Maybe I'll try that.
Yeah.
That's
17 years, And so you just test it regularly to make sure that it doesn't get big. Okay.
I'm noticing, based on the prior interaction that you and I had, Larry, and this interaction here, that you are a very evolved, open, sentient.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah. So what I think. Okay. Let me softball it then. Why does that surprise you, Lauren?
Well, it surprises me because Larry, you voted for Trump.
Right.
So I'm so confused by this on so many levels. Like so many levels. It just confuses me. You are Jewish, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I could ask you about the pussy tapes. I could ask you about being Jewish.
Yeah.
I could ask you, like, I don't even know where to begin.
Let's start with the pussy tapes.
The pussy tapes, first of all, it's late in the game already, the pussy tapes. The pussy tapes are late in the game. In the election, it's all a game.
No.
Election.
In the race for the president.
I understand, but what is that?
In other words, people had already decided.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, at this...
No, I don't give a shit about people. I care about you.
Yeah.
You saw Trump brag about sexually assaulting women. Brag about it. Oh, pussy. I grab her pussy. I stuff my tongue down her throat. I mean, you said it. Mm-hmm. I mean, if this was a court of law for sexual harassment or sexual assault, Trump assaulted me, there's the tape of him bragging about assaulting women.
I mean, I don't want to get into parsing language.
But how can you feel good? Do you love your wife?
Of course I love my wife, yeah.
So are you okay with men grabbing pussies if they want to? Or
No.
or pressing their bodies against a woman or putting their face...
No.
So why are you okay with that? The President of the United States bragging about that kind of behavior. And now he's the leader of the free world.
Yeah. Why am I okay with that?
Yeah.
Because I felt like, look, I mean, this may sound like a weak response, but let's put it this way. He was talking about stuff he did, and people talk about stuff they do. I mean, ever since high school, like, guys are like, I slept with her, I did that. Guys do that. Doesn't necessarily mean that they did it, first of all.
But first of all, are guys saying, I slept with her, or are guys saying... Yeah, I cornered her in a corner and I forced myself on her and shoved my dick inside her, and it was cool.
Well, he didn't say that.
He said I grabbed their pussies.
He said I could grab their pussy.
He said I grabbed her pussy. That's what he said.
We could splice the tape in here as you edit the show, and we could let the viewers decide. But as far as I was concerned...
He said, women allow me to do whatever I want.
Right, that's a very general statement. A very general statement to me.
So in other words, you don't necessarily believe him in all this stuff. He's just bragging.
Some of it's bragging. Some of it may have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very general. It was very general. I was voting for the President of the United States. Right. I was not voting for, like, the, moral leader of... a religion or something. Mm-hmm. I was voting for who would be the best leader of this country. And to me, I already decided way before that I was voting for him. So what am I going to do? I'm going to say, You
could decide not to vote for him.
No. I could, but it didn't sway me. The guy is highly successful, high-octane, high-testosterone. You know these people in business that are highly successful?
You're a business person, right? Yeah. You're a business writer. Yeah. You write books about business?
I write books. I work with executives, yeah.
So how is Trump a successful... Walk me through how he's successful.
If you're worth multiple millions of dollars, you're a successful business person.
How is he worth
If you're able to just build one hotel and have it work successfully, then you're a successful businessman.
So if you have 6 hotels or chains and they all go bankrupt, you're not but you have this one, you're a successful businessman?
I think so. I mean, the business is as much of an art as drama or TV.
So if you failed well over how much you've succeeded.
Yeah, most businessmen have failed miserably.
So you only have to succeed a little bit. Like at the end of the day, your failures could be like way more up here, but you're a successful.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln. How many times did he not get elected before he got elected?
Okay, I'm gonna move us along. I think that these are amazing questions and answers. I mean, truly. I really do. I'm very moved. I also want to know how you think he's doing in office. Maybe that can be sprinkled in with why you had made up your mind. What's good about Trump and how's he doing now? How's he meeting your expectations?
Good. So, I actually, when he announced he was going to run for president, I was supporting him at that moment. I was like, this is genius. This guy's going to win. This guy would be a good president because he knows how to lead. He knows how to get stuff done. If you watch the debates, in the Republican debates, I just couldn't. He would just speak plainly, and it was a little brash and a little like whoa, but it was very direct and authentic. I'm from New York. I kind of like that. And the politicians would talk in all of these vagaries. It was just a bunch of crap.
Are you from New York City?
I'm not born and bred in New York City, no, but I've lived in and around New York City, worked in New York City my whole life.
Okay.
So I felt like
Just
this
a lot
is
of
the
New
guy.
Yorkers. I mean, he really screwed over New York. Like, I
Well,
mean,
New York
he's
is like a democratic.
He's like a shady business guy, dude. Like he like.
How do you
wouldn't-
work in construction
he, like-
without being a shady guy?
Oh my God.
Construction is like mafia.
So it's okay. So everyone else is doing it. Everyone else is shady, and
No.
that's where the corruption
I mean, that's
is,
what
so
he's
it's
dealing
okay.
with. He
All
was
right,
able
sorry,
to
I'm
build
bringing
the
it-
Trump tax.
I'm bringing it back. I'm
Yeah.
bringing it back.
So-
So right now,
so-
Syria, go. How do you?
Well, and how's he doing?
Syria.
How's he doing?
How is he doing? I think pretty well. I'm generally happy. I think I've never seen a situation where from out the gate there has been such vitriol and animosity and press and everything completely against him. Everything he says is wrong. Every statement he makes is a moron.
What about all the stuff he says? What about when he had the new? Do you watch Fox News?
Sometimes.
Okay. All right. Where do you get your news source from exactly? Do you read the New York Times?
No.
Okay.
I used to read the New York Times.
You don't read the news. So do you read the Washington Post?
No, I
Do you
sometimes read the Wall Street Journal.
Wait,
And
what's the attitude about the New York Times?
it's so left leaning. It's just completely one sided. I don't need to hear that side. I don't buy it. I don't buy the perspective.
Interesting. Okay. So he had the New York Times reporters in to do a report, and he said to them, this was after the chemical weapons attack.
Okay.
He said they wanted to come and just talk about infrastructure. He said, you are missing out on the biggest story in the history of the world. Do you want to know what story he was talking about? Susan Rice, Obama's national security advisor, has supposedly, there is no evidence, and repeatedly, I mean, the Wall Street Journal has said this, Fox News, there is no evidence whatsoever, but Susan Rice ordered him to be tapped and followed and watched during the campaign.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's a big story.
and
I don't
that's
know
a
if
huge
it's a big
story.
over
But there's
Syria.
there's no evidence for it. So you believe that that's a possibility? You think that happened?
Well, I actually heard some FBI, CIA guy who used to work in those where they were tapping, and he said the only way that information would ever be released was that someone would have to ask for it directly from the people who were doing the tapping, and that would probably be her or someone who works for her or someone who works for Obama, which means they in fact did it. That it wasn't like this.
What about the court orders
NSA.
What about the court orders that have to go into place in order to do that?
Yeah, that's that special court that they have. Whatever
exactly,
it's called.
and it never happened. And
Well,
the
I don't
Senate, no, you do know, because the Senate Judiciary Committee, the Senate Intelligence Committee has said
Right.
that they have gone through all of those. There were no court orders, and so there is no evidence that this happened. That's what that means. There is no
But they
evidence.
were tapping the Russians, and he was somehow involved. That's
Okay, so guys, another very interesting conversation. And how is he doing? You think
Yeah,
he's
that's
doing?
like,
he's
how
doing
is he-
You
generally
think
well.
he's doing
Right.
pretty
I think
well?
he's getting a lot of
So,
things done.
What is he getting done? What specifically is he getting done? I really want to know this. What
Okay.
is he getting done?
Good. That's a very good question. What is he getting done? Well, he's trying to move forward things
No,
in terms
I
of
want
business.
specifics that he's gotten done.
I don't know right at this moment. I'm a little jet lagged, and I couldn't tell you.
Okay. So, but I think that the larger perspective. I mean, look, it is important to get into the nitty gritty,
Right.
and I think that
That's
a lot of people.
nitty-gritty is what is so important.
Right.
The details. There is no other thing that's more important
But
than
by
the
the
details.
same, by the
and
same
the
token,
specifics.
when we vote for a president, what we're doing is we're not voting to micromanage that president.
Exactly.
We're voting to trust that president.
Exactly.
So you can't expect the guy who voted for Trump to know every single thing that's going on. He basically gave Trump his seal of approval and said,
you're not watching. You're like, you
Right.
I'm watching.
he's
I watch-
watching, but he's
I watch his
watching.
weekly addresses. I read the news. I watch what's going on,
Which
and I
news
feel
do
like
you read again? The Wall Street Journal.
yeah, I read articles online from various sources.
What other sources besides the Wall Street Journal?
Well, main source that I get articles is from the Drudge Report,
Okay.
which then goes to other, could be Washington Post.
Yeah.
I do read New York Times articles from that. I will read.
And people get their news from different sources, which
Right.
is another.
Facebook,
I mean, I think you're
post
seeing
stuff,
right here just a vast, vast chasm. I mean, here are two people who are getting along,
Right.
and then there's a vast,
Bonded.
there's a vast chasm here when this subject comes up, and I think this is a microcosm for what we want to heal in America.
Yeah.
And we don't know the answer. We don't
But
necessarily
I think,
know
like,
how
more
to
than
do it.
the healing, I don't feel like I need healing. I think the people who quote unquote lost the election, who didn't get who they wanted,
Yeah.
those people need healing. So we need to help you heal. You don't need to heal us.
I think that's brilliant.
You're in
Yeah.
pain. I see your pain when you talk about it. It just angers you, and you're so upset. And how could it be? And I felt the same way as I watched Obama for 8 years.
Oh, come
The same
on!
exact
It's not even
feelings.
remotely in the same
I had the same
ballpark.
feelings.
No,
it
it's
doesn't.
not. It's
how
not
can you
even,
tell me what I felt?
because I'm telling you, you weren't harassed. You weren't
Of
called
what?
names.
Of course
you
I
weren't-
was.
You,
If
what were
I
you-
posted
what were you called?
anything, I felt.
No. I mean, you were not sexually assaulted. You were not sexually harassed.
You
You,
can
were
sexually
not
harass?
racially by the fucking president of the United
You were
States.
sexually harassed?
Yes. Because
You
the
were
number
sexually-
yes, because the number one employer, the number one ruler of the free world
Yes.
has sexually harassed and assaulted women and
Well, I don't
said
know.
it on camera.
That ca-
He
no,
said it to
there's
that
been
he
no
said
legal-
it to he said
he
it to Billy.
hasn't
He
been-
admitted on Billy Bush. We'll watch the tapes. We'll rewatch the tapes and we'll see exactly what he admitted to. And I, as a woman, am now subject to that being okay.
Oh, I
And
see.
you don't maybe fully understand and can integrate this.
Right.
But
No, I never thought of it
there's
that way.
verbal assaults, physical assaults,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of things. I mean, when I was in Italy, the fucking police were whistling at me, and I was like, the police! You're supposed to protect me!
Yeah, but
okay?
I've been to
so
other
now
places.
I have,
The police, it's not America.
well, exactly,
places.
exactly.
I mean, I was
exactly.
handed over to a homeless
Exactly.
person to walk me to my hotel.
It's not
before I
America.
realized by the police.
Right.
Before I realized that
Yeah.
this was a homeless person.
Yeah.
Who could jump me? I was like, whoa! I walked a half a block. I was like, what the hell? He has no shoes.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
guy. So the police is not a good.
Exactly. But in America, we are supposed to be the ideal. We are supposed to move
Yeah.
society
Yeah.
forward at large, the world
Right.
at large, and our police are certainly
There's
not.
no place for sexual harassment.
That's right.
Or harassing women.
Right. Or
making
people
them feel uncomfortable.
Or think of all the Muslims who were called. I know specific people who were called and who were harassed by people and said, you better move out and we're gonna. I mean, just today I heard on NPR the story of an Egyptian woman who's born in America
Yes.
who was hit by a man.
Uh-huh.
She's an American citizen.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't even
Yeah,
matter.
that's not
She should,
acceptable.
even if she was an Egyptian citizen walking around in America, she shouldn't be hit.
Of course not.
That's ridiculous.
I agree with you.
Right. Well, but you voted for a man who says that is
no,
all
no, no.
okay.
He doesn't say that's okay.
He does.
He says that there are dangerous people from certain countries that should not be let into this country.
But he doesn't say it that way.
Well, he doesn't
He
say
says
it that way, but
he says it in
the
a way that makes it okay for people to physically assault other people.
I don't know.
And verbally
I don't
assault.
think so. But it's not. You know, I think it's more about stopping people that shouldn't come here from coming here, and then people interpret that how. I mean, I coach executives on how to talk. It's really much more complicated than it sounds.
I think that you should
to
maybe
say-
coach Trump.
Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe you talk to him.
Well,
maybe
we
you could
have
connect me.
spoken to him. We do
Yes.
want to talk to him, and I think that you know, watching you guys talk this through, and look, this is an effort. I can't say that I'm seeing enormous communion here, but some sort of getting of the other side, which I think
I
is
think
really.
Lauren sees that just because I voted for Trump doesn't mean I'm an asshole.
It's true.
Okay, so there's progress. So she's slightly healed.
Yeah.
And
I've slightly healed.
And I saw
the chasm.
also you understood also that like the feeling of being a woman
Yeah.
under
And
such
harassed.
circumstances.
You said
Yeah,
it's not
right.
okay.
That's not okay.
So, but I do think that kind of like bridging is important, and just having the conversation. But I think this notion that like it's the people who voted for Trump who need to heal the people who didn't vote for Trump is very,
that was
very
incredibly
profound.
and powerful. And I was like, oh yeah, Michael, that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing this show. It's to heal us.
Right.
It's not to heal America. It's to heal us.
Right.
That's
it's gonna
right.
be okay.
That's
There's
right.
plenty
okay.
of Americans
It's gonna
who
be okay.
need to be healed. There are plenty of us. In fact, there were more us than
And
there were you.
Right.
And
well, we
maybe
can
what we're
discuss
also
that
getting
also.
at in a weird way is that Larry is sort of the uber shaman here, the launcher of the shamanism, and that in some sense maybe we really need his input in terms of healing America, because we need that perspective who's healing us.
Yeah.
So
I think you need to work with us.
yeah, I think
I
that's
think you need
what
to be
we're.
like part of maybe, I don't know, like
And plus,
a
that's what
consultant or something,
that's what you
or
do
like-
professionally, right?
It is what I do. I
You-
help
Oh yeah, you
heal.
could coach and you could coach
I help
us.
heal people at work in the work context. I'm not working at the level that as a shaman, but I'm actually I show up and things come up that they just haven't talked about, and things get opened up and addressed, and it's healing for them, and they can move forward at work.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So people don't get fired.
Well,
They actually have
sometimes they
conversations.
leave because they
Okay.
realize it's the wrong place for them.
Okay.
And sometimes they do get fired. Not because I advise it, but because it's self-evident as a result of everyone being open. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know what? This person is not a good fit. We got to get him out of here. But that's,
Right. That's part of the healing.
Right.
Is
That is
getting
part
rid
of
of
healing.
the cancer.
Exactly.
Wow. So you're kind of really sneaky in a way, because like if I was the person who was like a little bit like, I'm not happy with this situation, and then the work is like, well, we got this mediator healer guy coming in who's going to help us all.
Right.
I would be thinking, oh, he's going to help us. He's going to help me. I wouldn't be thinking I was going to become vulnerable and then share and then get fired for it.
Wouldn't be what you said. You would never be
Okay.
fired because of what you said.
Okay.
It would be how things transpire and how you respond, and also what might become evident of your skill level and competence level through the discussion and through the process.
That's
it might become
Very
clear
interesting.
that you don't
know
have
what the fuck you're doing.
you don't have the competence.
So do people like, what happens like physically, like do they get a temper tantrum and throw a temper tantrum and storm out? And that's why and then they can get...
I've had someone storm out on me, absolutely. They were eventually fired. I had someone else break down, just very emotional. That happens. I bring tissues. People cry.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but that doesn't mean they're going to get fired. It's about, like, the whole context.
The
of it.
gestalt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I think that we found a partner in healing of America. The
would've thought that would end this way?
shaman,
Wow,
as
who
it
would
were.
have thought? It was not what I expected.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is awesome. And do you guys want to do the honors of signing off this week?
We need to
Okay.
hug it out.
All right.
Hug it out for sure.
Oh boy! Thank you, thank you. So yeah, okay. The heart chakra's all open. Yeah.
Sweet.
Like,
Comment,
subscribe, comment.
Like, comment.
Right. I think
there are a lot of
share
comments.
is
Yes.
the
okay,
next
yes,
level.
Right.
Mm.
Share.
Like it, subscribe, of course.
Share something personal.
No, share the episode
Oh, right,
on
right,
another.
right.
on
Share.
your-
Oh yes.
Right.
Yes. Thank
Share.
you. I wasn't
Right.
even.
Yes.
Yeah.
Share and share.
Share.
Right.
Share.
Share and share alike. All right, guys. Love you.